Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. So excited to be here, sharing more about what we do. I think Masami just now just shared about the EU part, research, integration, and utilization. So my part as in fact is actually the part of utilization. So yeah, I was actually given the brief to share more about sustainability issues. So pardon me if I share about sustainability more in terms of the use cases. But let me share about myself and my company. Hi, I'm Zara. I'm one of the founders and partners at Impact 2. And we can go next. Next. Oh, yeah. Okay, so let me share on why I actually built Impact 2 with my partners, Italo and Vita. So, as mentioned by Masami about the GDP per capita, right? We see that the GDP per capita in Indonesia, Masami mentioned like for 4,500 to 5,000. Latest is this number. I just edited this morning. I think it's significantly lower compared to the other remaining neighboring countries. Therefore, I think it's very difficult to justify high-cost innovation. And second, we're experiencing economic instability in some sense. We have a lot of external pressures from global uncertainty. So this problem, I think it's very difficult for enterprises to develop large-scale innovation because it exposes the firm's margin compression. And third, one of the support that I always ask to Masoni and the team would be this part, the regulatory and institutional gaps. Right now it's improving. I see that there are a lot of funding from the government, from the institutions that help us to create R&D and innovation funding, but back then it was not this much. So it's kind of the innovation incentive in the country is kind of still low. It's improving but still low. So seeing these three problems, we see that it's going to be a challenge for enterprises to actually implement our position. Next, perhaps. We actually think that a lot of enterprises, we don't think that they need to build full-scale innovation from the very beginning. So our focus would be enterprises should actually implement innovation through validating demand early, through small-scale piloting. And second would be leveraging existing tech innovation or startups to implement their innovation. Because through that two methods, they can iterate the solution, scale the solutions, and eventually they don't need to invest a lot of upfront investment to do innovation. So that's what we do. Next, this is where we come. So in fact, we enable enterprises to innovate with lower risk, validating ideas through real implementation. So if compared to what mentioned by Masoni, like the Big Four, their approaches on innovation is creating a very long-term roadmap, right? Like innovation roadmap. It's going to be a 5 to 10 year innovation roadmap. Our approach is kind of different. A lot of innovation companies, they don't have the money to spend in a lot of the innovation, the large-scale innovation. So we use the lean innovation methodology in order to learn how enterprises run their business. The build, measure, learn. I think a lot of you might have known the build, measure, learn theory, right? The methodology by Eric Rice. So this is what we implement right now. So for enterprises, let's start from build. The way that we build innovation within enterprises is through the collaboration with startups. We think a lot of startups, they need use cases. The enterprises have their problems, but they don't have the infrastructure, they don't have the good team members to run the innovation. So we create collaborations between startups and the corporations in an open innovation model. And then we can build it faster. We can build it, usually they need like 1 to 2 years to build an innovation. We can just build it in 4 to 12 months. So this is getting it faster and cheaper and more affordable to create innovation through collaboration. And then we measure it using the product market fit financial modeling. So this is something that we have been building for quite some time. We build financial modeling specifically for innovation products. You don't need to calculate their profitability from day zero, but we can calculate the future of profitability. How profitable will they be through a lot of metrics such as retention rate, cohort analysis, unit economics. Through that data, we can actually produce like the path to profitability. That's where we build the product market and financial modeling to assess the scalability potential. And let's say the innovation is not really having a good metric in the product market and financial modeling. Usually we encourage the enterprises to, okay, let's fail fast. Let's fail fast. Let's not continue the innovation and find other probably pain points from the market that can be solved with innovation, right? And next, when we learn, this is where we become the consultant in our group. We create an innovation roadmap based on the data we collected in the build and measure phase. So through collaboration with startup, we collect their data, then we know, okay, enterprise X, then you have to create an innovation in this way, and the pragmatic way of building the innovation is in this way, right? And then we actually add up some data from the qualitative perspective, for example, to FGEs, interviews, to understand better business, identifying the factors influencing the success or failure, so that we can learn and iterate along the way. So after this, I think I will share more on some of our startups that we have. We have like 300 plus startup networks. I think this has been in collaboration with the team from the ministry as well. We have been building a program called Startup Studio for the past 5 years, and we managed to have 100 plus startup from the program. In addition to some of the startup we have as well, we have like around 300 startup network. Because I was being briefed that I have to share more about sustainability, I will focus more on the cases that we built for open innovation in the sustainability perspective. I think this aligns with the previous presentation from Aswani in the case that we build digital transformation through collaboration. Okay, next. Okay, next. So let me share one use cases that we have. So as mentioned, we emphasize collaboration with curated, experienced external innovators. This ensures faster implementation, faster validation, and then accelerated learning curve and reduce upfront investment. So one case that we have is with Haleon. Haleon is a company, a pharmaceutical company from the UK. Their goal is to have the healthcare access gap is being cut through their program called the Pain Phone. So they have been implementing this Pain Phone program outside of Indonesia. They want to implement it in Indonesia. So Haleon, they aim to reduce the healthcare access gap in unprivileged communities in the Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities by connecting them to a physical interface called the Pain Phone, right? So the Pain Phone, if you can imagine, it's a telemedicine connected with this big device in which you can actually measure your heart rate, measure your sugar level. So this is like a device, this big, right? So in that device, you can actually directly measure your heart rate and everything. And there's going to be like telemedicine across you, and you can actually have a conversation with the doctors. That's the Pain Phone. They really want to build a very big roadmap on the Pain Phone at the moment. But I was thinking, okay, I think we can collaborate this with startups, existing startups that have connections already. So if you know, in Indonesia there's a very big telemedicine company called Fakultas. So we actually called Fakultas, hey, I have a program, so you need to give like a free telemedicine consultation in these two Tier 2 TTC areas. But it's connected to a device that we're going to build. Is it possible? They say yes, right? So I was like, okay, my next problem would be, how do I build the device? I collaborated with Imagine. Imagine is a startup focusing on manufacturing. So they can actually connect us with a lot of manufacturing companies, like the SMEs for manufacturing. They have around 1,000 manufacturing SMEs. So, okay, I said that, okay, I need this device, sent to Purworejo, it's under Java, and connected with Howard. And through this collaboration, usually they build this kind of stuff alone without collaborations. They perhaps will need a lot, like 6 months at least. But we can implement, like, we select the innovators within 2 weeks, planning and developing the Pain Phone within 8 weeks, and implementing it within 6 weeks. It's very fast for the enterprises to validate whether this Pain Phone works. If I will say, actually, the Pain Phone itself, we managed to have 4,000 mobile clinic users, so the users from the Purworejo is like 4,000, and then 7,000 consultations conducted in 32 villages across Purworejo. So in this case, this is how I see that open innovation actually creating faster implementation and validation they want to create a waste circularity innovation, right? So one of the problems is the ideal condition is actually to have 60% of the waste recovered, the waste recovered. Right now, in this company, 73% of the waste is actually going to the landfill. So this is a very big problem. They have to switch like the 73% into only 40% going to the landfill and the other 60% being recovered. Okay? So this is a very big problem. Let me share this in the regulation that states that. So our client actually wants the waste circularity goal in 40% in 2025 and 50% in 2050. So this is a very big sustainability issue for them. And in June, our client produced only 22% that are processed or recycled. Okay, so with this problem, can I go next? We mapped startups that actually help in the value chain of waste management. So in this value chain, we have preventative reuse, collection, processing, recovery, and within this process, there are a lot of different startups that actually can help us. And some of these are actually the alumni of the programs that we build with the Ministry of Communication and Digital, like Ecosystem. We actually also need Rebelware, right? So we map this, and then we try to curate them, okay, which one is actually needed by our client. Apparently, the biggest composition of waste that our client has is residual waste. So I have to eliminate some of the names here into only 4 names next. So we bring 4 startups, sorry, let me go here, so it's going to be visible. Yeah, so we bring 4 startups that actually focuses on residual waste and plastic waste, because our client has most residual and plastic waste. So these are not some names, you can search it on a website or something. They're very innovators. They're starting their business, but they already have clients as well. I think our focus is to find more startups that already have clients. And they're located in a lot of places in Indonesia, like Parangpong is a Bandung. They're located from Bandung. Jambi is from Jakarta. I don't remember, but I think they're not from Jakarta. But these startups, we collaborate with our client. So our client wouldn't need to build a very big waste management plan. They can actually just send their waste to respective places where these companies are. Our challenge is also actually collecting and segregating the waste, right? So we're working together with a startup called Ecosystem to do this, creating this value chain, collaborating every value chain with startups, and we can have a faster implementation. If they want to build their waste management plan, it might be 1 year, we can do it in 2 months, right? So this is how we do innovation, open innovation and sustainability. Next, probably this is my last use case we can discuss. Okay, so one of the other use cases, one of our clients, I can mention this one, is the Port Authority Services in Indonesia called PT Indonesia. They have issues in 3 aspects, right? Because of the way that they operate their business, they actually need to give back, I think, in the way that through their CSR fund, they need to have programs that solve the blue carbon issues and then port tourism issues, because because they build the ports sometimes, a lot of the ecosystem or the community within this port is actually being improved and they need new jobs. So we need to create a port tourism ecosystem to create new jobs for this beneficiaries. And then third would be also the sustainability for sustainable farming and fisheries. In this case, the sustainable farming and fisheries, we want to empower the fishermen around the port area to actually practice fishing with safety, with sustainable ways of doing fishery. Yeah. Okay. So this is just one case, right? There are 6 startups, but one chosen is actually called MYCL. Their products actually being exported to Japan, to the US, and everything. But what they do is actually they're a biotechnology startup focusing on developing sustainable materials. So they're creating it's a fabric. I think it's a fabric, yeah. It's a fabric, biodegradable fabric from mycelium and seaweed, and they're actually supporting circular economy and community development. So what we do, in this project is helping 32 CV farmers, 50% of it around 50% are women, in PEB Island, Kalimantan, with the infrastructure or like the hub to produce semi-refined Karaganan SRC in collaboration with local state educational school. So this is collaborating with the startup. The innovation is being brought by YCL. The operation is being planned by the state vocational school. Indo here acts as the infrastructure and also the funding. So creating this kind of collaboration, we can create an impact of like creating 3 tons of seaweed converted into value-added Karaganan. Because previously, seaweed is a low-value product. But because of this new technology, seaweed can be a high-value product that we can sell to Adidas International. Right? So in this case, with our solution, Indo as the beneficiary, Indo as the sponsor for this, they built and pilot the Caribbean Hub facility, supporting the seaweed farmers. They also support the local state vocational school. They can create the 3 tons of seaweed that will be exported to the clients of America. And we can get the expected impact as I mentioned here. So our focus right now is doing this. A lot of our programs focus on sustainability. We can talk more if you have any concerns or if you want to collaborate with us. But our approach is create open innovation. So creating collaboration. It's faster, validate faster, implement faster, and with that, I think we can fail fast or we can proceed to scale fast, right? So this is how we build innovation, and I think with the ministry, with the new government spark motion at INdonesia is motion now, we're focusing on digitalization. So right now we're collaborating with local startups to get them utilized by this kind of companies that we do and so on. Yeah, so that's all for me. I think for today. Thank you so much. I hope you can discuss more of this.
Thank you very much, Azara. One of the phrases you hear often from her is fail fast. That's also one of my favorite taglines. I really like the one that you taught us, which is fail fast and scale fast. I don't always agree with it, but you can usually see within the first 1 month whether an idea is good or not. Okay, so now that we've reached the end of the presentations, right, you're all ready to flex your muscles. The committee has encouraged me to remind you that tomorrow you need to be at the station at 7, otherwise it was train, right? So let's come with a compromise. We will only formally take 4 questions today, right? The 4 questions means we will finish at 3:30. Now if Pasani and Azara, you are free, open to being asked, feel free to do so. Yeah, those of you who want to take a rest, some of you will have to hire, then we also have that. Okay, so I will open the floor to questions. We will stick with 4, but we also have the option to ask the speakers directly later on. Anyone, any more questions? Okay, 1, 2, from anyone, you heard that, yes, for sure, wait a minute. Yeah, okay, that's 3. One more. Yeah, okay, that's one. Very well. So, I wonder, can we have the mics, please? Yeah, who's the first one? One, 2. You are the first one.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. The more I've heard about Roxana presentation. Oh yeah, my name is Oliza. I'm from Santiago University. So I'm really amazed about the impact of your corporations. So my question is a little bit personal about your opinion. As someone who's building a whole businesses and social impact ecosystem, what your advice would you give to a young professional who want to create different businesses?
Different impact businesses?
Yeah, like create your advice for a young professional who want say someone who want to build their purpose-driven businesses. Thank you.
Okay, can I answer now? Okay, sure. Or is it like 4 questions? Okay. I think one of the biggest things that we also always share to our startups would be, is there a problem? Right? when you want to build a purposeful or purpose-driven startup, sometimes we always think about only impact metrics and everything, but the problem is not there. Like waste management, there's a problem in waste, in Indonesia especially. Water, we have a big problem in water. So we have to see whether there's a problem in it. Sometimes they want to build impact, but there's no problem in it, so it's not experience problem, or it needs to be incentivized in order for the product to run. This kind of situation sometimes makes it hard for the product market fit to happen. No problem, no incentivization. No incentive, sorry. No incentive or no problem. So we have to think about these two steps when we want to build impact startups. Is the problem really there? What's the consumption solve? What's the target market, like what's the serviceable payable market, those kind of stuff. And then second, does this industry need incentives to run? For example, electric vehicle ecosystem. It can run because they have the incentives in the very beginning when they build. A lot of my startups like Makamo calls, we actually work with Charge, we work with Starful, the EEP startups. I think they manage to grow because there is also incentive from the government because this is a very big issue in Indonesia, emissions, right? So that's the two cases that I would consider before starting this kind of product. I am very interested. This is an ecosystem, is a waste management startup that we built from like 2019, 2020. They always mention that, hey, okay, impact is one thing, but business visibility, that's the main thing. It's still business, even though it's impact driven, right? So make sure that the unit economics is there, it's working on the unit economics side. Yeah, that would be my advice. Anything?
Thank you, Rahman. I have the question for you. The first question is, how is your organization preparing its workforce to transition from digital skills to capabilities that support sustainable transformation? The second question is, what are the biggest challenges in maintaining clarity and trust in digital communication channels? To both speakers.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. My question for the new banker. Yeah, I have a question. Is there any planning or have you ever collaborate with university or government institution to drive innovation in Indonesia? Because it's not good maybe for me to collaborate with university or government institution. Thank you. So feel free to answer now.
Okay, cool. I think sorry, can you share your name? Okay, thank you. So I will answer and then somebody will answer, okay? Okay. Sustainability. I think the way that we are starting to enter sustainability because a lot of our enterprises clients are like pushing towards that way. So we're still learning along the way. I think, but because we incubate a lot of ESG-driven startup from 2020, I think we actually learned it from them, these practices. Especially right now, I think I have been pushing my team to, because we're working a lot with the waste management startups and everything, we started to practice the way that we should like segregating all the waste and everything, and pushing this as a culture of the company. So when we have like dinner, lunch, or everything, I think we push the sustainability way of running our program in terms of how we run the operations, like especially in the waste part, because we're really focusing on that. But apart from that, pushing the team to do sustainable matters, I think it's very difficult. It requires change management. I have a very small team. We have only like 30 people right now. But like change management for 30 people itself is very hard, right? Pushing them. And I'm experiencing this with my enterprise client. We have to push the reduce and prevent, as mentioned, the waste reduction and prevention. It's very difficult. So I think one of the challenges in Indonesia is the change management for sustainability. The second, for the digital communication, can you share more about the question? I don't really get the question, sorry. The digital communication.
besar dalam memelihara kejelasan dan penekanan dalam saluran komunikasi digital?
Okay, should I answer? Okay, let's go ahead and answer this in English. Sure. Okay. This is a problem that I'm facing right now, so I cannot be the best person to share about this. Probably my Sony later on. I think we, as an organization, it's very hard to communicate well, especially I'm working from anywhere. Our organization is working from anywhere. Sometimes my managing partner is in Italy for 6 months. So we require a very good online communication channel. We're working with a lot of tools right now to do that, but we're not yet perfect. We implement Slack, we implement ClickUp, we implement Monday.com, but I think all those productivity and communication tools require good change management as well. I think that's the biggest challenge that I'm facing. Changing their behavior from WhatsApp to moving into these tools for the team is something that I am having tough experience with. That's why I'm not the best person to share about this. I don't think myself have a different angle on the
That is a tough question. But I'm from the Ministry of Communication and Digital, so I have to answer that. So I think a lot of bias in if you see in the social media now. Because especially in Indonesia, if you see I mentioned before, about demographic policies, around 40% of the population is under 30 years old. But if you see people, there's a lot of problems about the level of education. Only 43% education is middle school up, high school and post-graduate. The other 57, either they only have SD atau elementary school, or they don't have any education at all. So it is a big challenge for education. That's why the contribution, the first is to mencerdaskan kehidupan bangsa, baru mensejahterakan. So itu that refers about especially about the digitalization. Jadi there are 4 main pillars in digitalization. The first is about the digital safety, digital skill, digital ethics, and digital culture. That's we are focused on to help how to use technology properly with safety, not only see as a partner, but educate the partner. And adding to Zara say, if you want to about the problems, not only start your company or startups from problems, but you have to measure how big the problem is. If your problem is only like 10 or 20 people, you don't have to build a company for that. So how big the problems and how big the market that having certain problems that you want to solve. That's it from the Ministry of Communication and Digital. So you have to be clarified with your proposal. So setting the right message, setting the right information of like what we do. Right now we facing the lack of investor trust in digital ecosystem. So we sending the sign like the regulation and then reforming the regulation, then we like this hub around the cities around Indonesia. I think that's sent the positive tone. So the news not only negative, but also we send
and you took all the cuts.
Yeah. So kita ada komitmen, tapi as an organization they have to have a proper team on focus on the publicity and optimasi. Itu yang dilakukan. Memang sering dikasih dan jadi proses juga. Tapi kalau kita selalu kontak dengan reality dan juga ini ya, ketika salah ngomong di media video, kontennya juga pakai video. Kalau kita pakai masih kayak gitu sih.
Oh, sorry. I can have something to add. I think adding context to every discussion is like context. Karena I think the biggest problem that we face in online remote working is they don't understand the context why I say that. So the reason behind. So we have this framework in the office. It's called the kata maka sehingga. Or like in English, this actually does not make sense. Like why and then therefore hence. So I think this framework, we always bring this to every client and everything so they understand the context of why we approach something or why we have this kind of idea. Karena apa, maka kita akan apa sehingga impactnya akan seperti apa. So I think this is a very good framework if you want to clarify any communication. Yeah. Okay, one more question, right? University. This is very interesting. I think we've been working for the past 1 year to approach one universities to work with us. And the interesting part, just yesterday I had a meeting with one of my clients. We want to build a very small innovation actually. A very small innovation on, so in the port, right, like there is this dredging process. I wouldn't share more about the dredging process. But the problem, they have a project management issue in the dredging process in one of the biggest clients of mine. So we think that this cannot be collaborated with startups because there are no startups working in that area. So we have to find university researchers to build that. And we're actually collaborating. I think my team is having a meeting with the University of Indonesia today to talk about this case. We try to collaborate this with the MNBP, the elevator fund. Like we have a research fund from the PDP, the endowment fund for endowment fund LPDP. So LPDP can provide like a maximum of 500 million rupiah fund to innovate together with the university. And we have a use case, we have a problem, but we don't know what to solve. So we're starting to implement this with the university starting this year. So if we actually started this, if anybody wants to collaborate with us, I think you have ideas that you want to implement, or I have ideas for my clients to implement, I think I can work with anybody that is interested. Yeah. So, but I think we need more structure to run that kind of program. Because it's right now it's unstructured, it's sporadic, right? Okay, I have a problem, okay, how do we find a fund? Oh, MPDP has a fund, MPDP has a fund, okay. Then how do we contact INdonesia or like UGM? Okay, which to contact, right? This kind of stuff is just sporadic. I'm trying to create like a better program for this. So finding the problem statement from the enterprises, contacting the university, finding the fund. So I think this is a program that we need to create, but we haven't created it yet.
So my name is Anton. I come from the Philippines, but I'm studying in Singapore. So my question is, it seems that in order for you to be successful in digital transformation, you really need a very big network for you to be able to collaborate with a lot of people, bring people together, and to create something new. So for people to start out the digital transformation journey, how do you propose that people start building that network so that you get as much access to the
Network building. Network, how do you build network to build digital transformation? How do you start the network? I think that's the question.
I think similar people attract each other. So we have like a series of networking. Meet up with CEO, the people behind the digital transformation the digital transformation from the established businesses also, from the big company to the family businesses that wants to transform their sector or their industries to digital. So network is the first, and then the second is the same direction, same view. So we know where we are at. And then the last one is the integration of the resources, because we all in this ecosystem is interdependent. We cannot, I mentioned that, to ensure stable foundation, equal distribution of value. So you cannot win this alone and mengorbankan sacrifice our shareholder in the ecosystem. We need to have not only collaboration but balancing the value around the ecosystem.
Something that I will add, I think when a lot of my startups started from programs run by the Minister actually. So luckily in Indonesia we have programs like 1,000 startup movement, 1,000 startup, this program, right? I think that's where a lot of our startups start their journey. You can join that kind of program to start the connection, because a lot of our startup meet us because of that program. That would be first. And second, like, we have a lot of networking events in Indonesia. The VCs, the venture capitals, they create a lot of networking events. Sometimes we do also. So we have a lot of networking events as well. I think I started to have a lot of network in the industry from those networking events. The ministry runs a lot of networking events for the CXO, for the ecosystem builders. So I joined with a lot of these events, and I actually meet a lot of the tech players there, like IBM, I meet Ericsson, I meet Google. I think there's a lot coming from these networking events, and these relationships eventually will result in very good digital transformation movement for us in our programs. Right? We run a lot of programs with IBM, Google, along the way because of this connection that we need in networking events. That would be first. Second, in the digital transformation, I think that in Indonesia we have associations. I'm not sure in the Philippines or in Singapore, but we have like associations like the incubator association. We have like the fintech associations, and I think joining these associations, actually joining some, and joining these associations actually help the networking so much. They have a lot of events running. They have a lot of what should I call it? It's matchmaking. So right, sometimes we met this individuals from these kind of associations as well. So that's basically how we started the networking part. I think helped a lot by the connection to all these government associations as well, like the government entities, like the Ministry of Communications and other ministries. They actually also have connections that sometimes I ask myself, like, hey, I need a connection to this person. Can you help me? Do you have a connection to this institution? Can you help me set a meeting with them? So personal connection, third personal connection with somebody, and you can actually get a lot of connection from those, like one very powerful individual in government or perhaps in the industry.
Alright, that's all the time we have for the following questions. So I hope you'll join me in thanking our speakers. Thank you very much for listening in. Let's give them a warm round.